Hayato was a weak bum until he was infected by an alien virus that gave him overpowered strength. However, when he joined a military academy to train, he ended up rizzing all the hot baddies, and now they want a taste of his sausage. It all started when Earth was attacked by giant alien beings called the Savages, who turned the place upside down with their destructive powers. During this invasion, Hayato's childhood friend took a huge blow, and he watched helplessly as she got infected with a mysterious virus. In desperation, he tried to suck the poison out of her, but he got infected too and lost his memories. Despite that, he grew up to hate savages and made it his life's mission to destroy them all. Years later, Hayato is on his way to a special academy called Little Garden, where humans are trained to pilot a savage hunting weapon called the 100. Apparently, Hayato has the highest compatibility score with the 100, and he has already become a mini celebrity in school. So once he lands, he sees two girls searching for him with a megaphone and a giant banner with his name on it. However, he is already fed up with the celebrity life and uses some trucks as cover to get away from them. He soon runs into a group of students, and one of them immediately recognizes him, causing the others to form a crowd around him. Since bro has social anxiety like you all, he sneaks away and hides from everyone. Just then, a femboy jumps on him, and when Hayato asks who he is, he introduces himself as Emil, another new student in the academy. Emil then takes him to the auditorium, where the student council president, Clare, starts the opening ceremony. Just then, the girls who are tasked with welcoming Hayato enter the hall and apologize for being late. However, Clare sternly says there is no room for those who can't follow rules, so she tells them to pack up their stuff and leave the academy. Hearing this, Emil quickly stands up and opposes Clare's decision, stating that he will not tolerate abuse of power. Hayato hesitantly backs him up, adding that expulsion is too harsh a punishment just for being late. Hearing this, Clare tells everyone that they are not ordinary students, but rather soldiers who will risk their lives to fight the savages. Since even the smallest mistake can end their lives, she expects them to be perfect in every regard and follow orders no matter what. Emil continues to oppose her, saying that he doesn't have the right to command them, especially because Hayato has a higher compatibility score than she does. At this, Clare challenges Hayato to a duel, and if he manages to beat her, she will take back the expulsion. Before he can say anything, Emil accepts the duel on his behalf, leaving the guy baffled. Later, while Hayato is yapping about getting on the bad side of Clare, Emil takes him to the lab where she introduces him to Char, the chief researcher of the 100, and her assistant May. Char commends his balls for picking a fight with Clare on his first day, but when he asks how she already knows, she introduces him to the Academy's supercomputer Liza, which keeps track of everything. She then hands him his 100 unit in the shape of a crystal, adding that it can take a different form based on who uses it. After that, he heads to the training facility with Emil, where he puts on a variable suit that lets him control this 100. Then, he activates the weapon for the first time and manages to summon a cool sword. After him, Emil summons his 100 weapon as well and immediately starts firing at him without warning. Hayato instinctively moves out of the way, but his suit speeds him up so much that he crashes into a wall like a moron. Seeing his speed excites Emil, and he says he has a plan for how Hayato can beat Clare. After training for hours, Hayato sees several missed calls from his sister Karen and rushes to the hospital to meet her. Karen refuses to talk to him because he's late, but when he gives her a forehead kiss, she finally forgives him. Just as they begin talking, a nurse and her two massive honkers walk into the room to inform him that the visiting hours are over. Thus, Hayato leaves the hospital and heads to his dorm room, only to find Emil in nothing but a towel. Emil gets so flustered that he starts throwing things at his head, which knocks Hayato out. After Hayato wakes up, he asks Emil why he's in this room, and Emil reveals that they're roommates. He also offers to sew his uniform, which was damaged earlier, but while doing so, he pricks his finger. Seeing blood triggers a traumatic memory in Hayato, so he quickly grabs Emil's hand and starts sucking on his finger, which makes him blush. The next day, Hayato and Clare meet in the arena, and they summon their 100s for their duel. As the crowd eagerly waits for the match to begin, the announcers reveal that the time limit is 15 minutes, and the conditions for a win are a knockout, energy depletion, or being disarmed. However, Clare adds another condition that she will refrain from using her full body armament, which is a technique that allows fighters to pour all of their energy into a single attack. Despite this, Hayato stays firm while Emil stands in his corner and tells him to act on their plan. After a 10-second countdown, Hayato immediately rushes Clare down, but he's so fast that he loses control and ends up right on top of her. As he gets up, he sees his gooning hand being blessed with Clare's pom-poms, and Clare is not too happy about it. Immediately, Hayato backs up and apologizes, explaining that he is still not used to his powers. However, Clare gets flustered and reveals this is the first time she's been diddled with, so now she will clap him back. She then summons all of her cannons and charges Hayato down, punching him in the gut before firing at him. Hayato manages to pull up his energy barrier, which deflects Clare's energy beams, after which Emile urges him to charge at her again. As he rushes in, Clare easily stops him and pushes him back, so Hayato decides to use his ultimate move. As he focuses, his sword begins to glow, before he suddenly leaps into the air and hurls an energy ball at Clare. The ball causes a huge explosion, but when the dust settles, Clare appears unharmed because she used her cannons as a shield. Immediately after, she catches him midair and fires at him with all cannons at once, causing Hayato to come crashing down. Despite this, he refuses to give up, and this makes Clare even more excited to clap his cakes. She then pulls out a special weapon called the Buster Cannon, and while it charges, Hayato feels a strange sensation in his body, which makes him freeze. Emile begs him to move out of the way, but when Clare fires the cannon, Hayato blocks it on autopilot before charging her down with his sword. Clare barely dodges the attack, but Hayato turns into a completely different person and keeps slashing at her, much to everyone's shock. Clare then shoots at him point blank, but Hayato somehow activates his full body armament, which is practically unheard of for a new student. Now even faster than before, Hayato makes Clare reevaluate her life choices, but she declares herself the queen and uses her strongest attack against him. This not only causes a hole in the barrier but also makes Hayato's full body armament disappear, right before he crashes on the ground. As the crowd falls silent, Emile rushes to Hayato's aid, and Char joins them too, declaring that Clare has won this duel. However, Clare says she has lost because she promised that she wouldn't use her full body armament, and although it was not an official rule, she still broke it. Later, Hayato wakes up in the infirmary with Clare by his side, and when he asks if those girls are still getting expelled, Clare says she will let them stay. She then tells him that what he did during the battle has never been done before and demands to know how he did it. But Hayato admits he has no idea and doesn't even remember what happened. Just then, Emile walks into the room and tells Clare to take her sorry bum out of there.
What did he say?
But Clare says she only came to apologize before walking out. Later, as she's driving home with her assistants Erica and Liddy, Erica feels jealous that Hayato touched Clare's honkers before her,
Bombastic side eye.
which makes Clare blush. The next day, Emile wakes Hayato up, and after making sure he's okay, Emile suggests they head to the Central to grab something to eat. Soon after, both of them are at the shopping district, and everyone turns their heads for Hayato because he's become a big deal after yesterday's duel. Hayato then hears some girls shipping him with Emile, which makes him uncomfortable, so he asks Emile to take him elsewhere. He takes Hayato to the Seaview, but Hayato is weirded out when he sees that this is a spot famous among couples. Just then, he gets a call from Karen, who scolds him because he didn't tell her about the duel. She then says she did some fortune-telling and saw a shadow of an ominous girl, so he must avoid girls at all costs. When Hayato says he's just hanging out with his male roommate, Karen actually shows up in person to meet him. When Emile introduces himself, Karen suspects that something fishy is going on and asks him if he likes to take it in the back door. Emile assures him that he prefers kitty over sausage, and Karen agrees to let her guard down for now, but promises to castrate him if he tries anything with her brother. Just when they stop at the crossing, Karen looks at the billboard of her favorite idol Sakura and wishes to attend her concert. When Emile reveals that Sakura is performing at a nearby Zwei Island, Hayato agrees to take Karen someday. Afterward, Karen takes them to the cafeteria and excitedly goes through the menu because she has always wanted to come here. She wishes to buy everything but can't eat it all, so when Emile says he'll eat with her, Karen gets jealous and says she'd rather ask Hayato to eat with her. Later, while they're eating, Emile offers her some of his pasta, but she pouts and tells him he won't get on her good side so easily. Just then, Clare shows up with her side chicks, Erica and Liddy, as well as a second-year student named Chris, who works as Clare's assistant. Clare then invites Hayato to help at the student council, but Emile immediately tells the hoe to back off, saying Hayato beat her and is under no obligation to follow her like a puppy. That's when Liddy and Erica reveal that they've come to recruit him officially, inviting him to join Selections, a special force that receives missions directly from the headquarters. Once Hayato learns that he can fight Slayers, he leans towards accepting this invitation, and Emile says that he will join with Hayato as well. Liddy responds that he doesn't meet the requirements, but Emile says he's more than happy to clap her cakes on the battlefield to prove his skills. Immediately, he summons his 100, and even Clare is shocked to see his Dragoon-type weapon. Liddy summons her 100 in response, but when Hayato asks Emile to chill because Karen is here too, Emil changes his cannon into a lance and charges Liddy down. Seeing things escalate, Erica wishes to step in, but Claire asks her to let them fight because she's interested in seeing what Emil can do. With that, Emil and Liddy go face to face, but just when things get exciting, they hear an alarm go off and call it a draw. Claire then reveals that a savage has shown up on the Zwei Island. But before she leaves, Char shows up and asks her to take Hayato and Emil with her. She then asks Hayato if he's ready for his first real battle, and Hayato firmly says yes. After this, Claire takes them to the control room, where they run into May, who welcomes them. She also reveals that Chris is the head analyst, which surprises them because he's much younger than they are. That's when Char reveals that he's the reincarnation of young Sheldon, and he truly belongs here. Just then, another analyst gets a visual on 3 savages in the city, and Chris reveals one of them is the Trenta class type. Hearing this, Claire deems it too dangerous for rookies, so she suggests they sit this one out. Char then asks what she plans to do, and Claire reveals she will wait for the reinforcements from the headquarters. Char questions why she's not relying on her older brother Judah, but she quickly dismisses it, hinting at bad blood between them. She then asks Liddy and Erica to accompany her, but on her way out, Hayato insists on coming along. Once again, Claire tells him it's too dangerous, but he reveals that he was attacked by a savage when he was young, and this led to him losing his memories. If they were to wait for the reinforcements, the city would be destroyed, and many would suffer a fate worse than his. Thus, he insists on going with them, and their supercomputer, Liza, also believes taking Hayato and Emil to the battlefield is the best way to reduce casualties. Finally, Claire allows them to tag along, and on the way, Erica briefs them about their plan. Hayato and Emil are tasked with defeating one of the standard-type savages after the others deal with the first savage. Emil asks why they're going last, so Liddy explains that since they are rookies, they should first watch them fight and learn a thing or two instead of jumping in blindly. Hayato then asks if they need help with the Trenta class, but Claire assures them they've got this in the bag because they've caught bigger fish before. Soon after, the Powerpuff Girls jump in to face the first savage, and after they summon their hundreds, Erica chains it up while Claire uses her gun to fire at its head and exposes its core. Then, Liddy leaps in and strikes the core before activating the drill and crushing it into bits. Immediately, the savage falls to its death, so Claire asks Hayato and Emil to deal with the other one while they face the Trenta class. Hearing this, Emil pushes Hayato out of the plane, and after they summon their 100, Emil holds his hand and suggests they do exactly what Claire did. Firstly, Emil fires some shots to create a smoke screen, and this allows Hayato to close in and strike the savage's head. However, the shield around it is stronger than expected, so Emil gives him another chance to attack it. This time, the savage smashes Hayato to the ground, so Emil turns her 100 into a bow and arrow, striking it in the head and making it explode easily. In the meantime, the girls engage with the Trenta-class savage by following the same technique. However, Erica's chains cannot hold this one down, so it smacks Erica into Liddy and knocks both of them out. Hayato and Emil see this and decide to intervene, but Claire tells them to stay put and let her aura farm on this chunk of metal. She then summons her big gun, but as she fires at the savage, she realizes that her energy is too low. Just then, the savage fires a deadly energy beam at her, and it seems as if she's caught in the midst. However, when she opens her eyes, she finds herself mid-air and in Hayato's arms, and this makes her cookie moist. She still says he was supposed to stand back, but Hayato responds that he couldn't let a baddie like her die before giving him a sloppy toppy. She asks him to watch his hand, and that's when he realizes he's squeezing her jugs once again. As he quickly lands, she shyly asks him why he's always stealing her first experiences, adding that he's the first guy to carry her like a princess. Just then, they see the savage loading up another attack, and Erica tells them that it's aiming in the direction of an airport. Since many lives are at stake, Hayato decides to put up a barrier and block the attack. Working together with Claire, he manages to detect it, but Claire is out of energy and can't even stand properly. Seeing this, Emil rushes in and strikes the monster's core, but it throws rocks at him. Since Liddy is still knocked out, Emil rushes to her side and deflects any rocks coming in her direction. He then puts up a shield to block a direct attack, but it ends up ripping his costume and exposing his body. Seeing that Emil is rocking Peaches on the chest, Hayato is taken back to the day his childhood friend was struck by a savage. He quickly realizes that Emil is actually his childhood friend Emilia and rushes in to stop the savage from game-ending her. She asks if he remembers everything, but he says he only remembers partly, and this makes her blush as he saved her again. He then tells Emilia to take everyone to safety, only to get crushed under the weight of Savage's attack. The monster then aims at Emilia and Liddy, but its arm is sliced off at the last second. As its blood rains from above, Hayato reveals himself in his full body armament, and once again, he's transformed into a completely different person. As he brutally attacks the savage, Emilia sees that he's become a lunatic. Thus, she leaps into the air and locks lips with him, which allows him to revert to normal. Afterward, she asks him to channel all his energy into a single attack. So Hayato powers up and strikes the savage on the head, causing it to split into two. With the mission done, Hayato collapses into Emilia's arms. But Clare joins them and demands to know why they were being freaky. That night, as they return to the dorms, Emilia says she's convinced Clare and the others to keep her secret, but she cannot stay in this room anymore. Before she leaves, Hayato wants to know everything he's forgotten, so she reveals that many years ago, she was infected by the virus. However, he sucked out her blood to save her, but this made him infected too. Most people die from the virus, but the lucky ones who survive end up becoming highly compatible with the 100. Such infected folks are called variants, and there are fewer than 10 of them in the entire world. She then explains that when his life is in danger, his virus activates and turns him into a violent monster, which is why he loses his memories. It's the same for her, but she knows how to control her anger and promises to teach him too. She then thanks him for saving her life and is about to leave, but Hayato feels dizzy and falls on her. Worrying that it's a side effect of the virus, she pulls him into a kiss, which calms him down. She then reveals that to subdue an active virus, one must administer a dose of an inactive virus, which she did by swapping spits with him. At this, they both start blushing and make eye contact, causing them to lean in for another kiss. But at the last second, Clare barges into the room and accuses them of being freaky. Hayato anxiously gets up and tries to explain himself, only to stumble on top of Clare and accidentally kiss her. Clare starts blushing and complains that he took another one of her firsts, but she isn't upset. This annoys Emilia so much that she pins him against the wall and demands another kiss, and their commotion wakes up everyone in the dorms. Elsewhere, Sakura's assistant is on the phone, revealing that the concert has been rescheduled for next month, and she needs a student from Little Garden to handle security. Weeks later, Hato and Emilia are sparring against two students, Fritz and Raitia. During battle, Hayato learns to activate his virus but still stay in control, which allows him to smack Fritz against a wall. At this, Fritz surrenders, and Emilia quickly runs in to congratulate Hayato for learning to control himself better. Raitia is sad that they lost, even though they've been training for a month, and believes getting into selections is a pipe dream. However, Emilia tells them to be proud of themselves because not many can push Hayato so far that he has to resort to his full body armament. Just then, Erika shows up and tells Hayato that Clare wishes to see him, as he has been listed for a selections mission. At her office, he learns that Sakura has personally requested him to be her bodyguard, but when Hayato asks why him, Clare says she has no idea. She then tells Hayato to be on guard, as Erika reveals that she detected 7 savage presences on Zwei Island in the last month. Hayato is confused because they only fought 3, and that's when he learns that the other 4 were shot before they could land. However, only one of their bodies were location, which means 3 of them are still out there. Recalling how they almost died in the last battle, Hayato immediately accepts the mission. Afterward, he visits Karen in the hospital and tells her that since he's employed as Sakura's bodyguard, he got her a ticket to the concert. Excited, she runs her fortune-telling gig for Hayato and tells him to stay away from water and women, which is something all degenerates do on a daily basis. The next day, Hayato wakes up to Emilia in his bed, and she latches onto his arm, asking him to go on a date with her. However, Hayato refuses as his mission was moved to this morning, which frustrates Emilia. Soon after, he and Liddy meet up to welcome Sakura, and after introductions, they take him through the airport where her fans are dying to sniff her. Later, as they drive to her place, Hayato wonders why Sakura wants her as a bodyguard. Just then, Sakura asks him if he listens to her songs, but Hayato nervously says he isn't really a music person. He adds that his younger sister is a big fan of hers, but Bro's so nervous that he fumbles his words like an idiot, which makes her laugh. She then asks him to ease up around her and call her by her first name. Afterward, they reach her hotel, and Bro is so bad at his job that Sakura asks him if he's the real Hayato or a Walmart ripoff. Hayato says he's just bad because it's his first time being a bodyguard before leaving to secure the room. Once it's all clear, he invites her in, and now that they're finally alone, she asks him if he wants to marry her. She then shows him a video of him fighting and admits she's been crushing over him ever since she saw him. She also admits she didn't expect him to be awkward, but she still finds him cute and wants to marry him. Hayato is shocked at this and asks her to slow the F down, but she responds that he should be happy that a celeb wants to fiddle with his joystick. She also wants to hold a press conference to make it public, and even starts yapping about the wedding theme. She keeps going as she lays out their entire life together, and knowing that she's in complete delulu, Hayato decides to test her by saying that he wants it all, and they should seal it with a kiss. As he leans in, she gets flustered and storms into the shower room to get ready for her show, and Hayato takes a sigh of relief. While she's singing in the shower, Hayato praises her soothing voice, which reminds her of Karen, who is also a bathroom Grammy winner. Just then, Sakura asks him to bring in a recorder, but as he steps into the shower, he sees her clothes lying around and decides to tidy up. However, Sakura steps out and gets flustered when she sees him holding her plot covers, so she steps back and slips on some soap. Hayato rushes in to make sure she's okay, but he's treated to her entire collection unplotted. After handing her the recorder, he waits outside, and Sakura soon arrives and asks him about her outfit. He tells her she looks cute, but she says this dry response is only worth 40 points. After that, he takes her to a press conference, and Hayato is impressed by how easily she handles everyone. Later, she takes him to the venue of her concert, where he activates her 100 called Fairy Tale, and Hayato's jaw hits the floor when he realizes how mesmerizing it looks. She then flies into the air and drops sparkles from above, which only adds to the element of beauty. Just then, Char appears and says this is the first time Sakura will use her 100 in a concert, and she has a special field control type which allows her to create illusions inside a certain area. Hayato asks Char how she knows Sakura, and she says she just helped her through a rough patch. Just then, Sakura lands and quickly embraces Hayato, asking him what he thought of her performance. Hayato says it's the coolest thing he's seen after Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, and she says she has to do her best for every one of her fans, as well as those who have helped her get to this point. That evening, Hayato calls Clare to let her know that he's been dismissed because Sakura wants to be alone, so Clare tells him to do whatever the client says. After that, Hayato excitedly heads to the public bath to cool off, but he's met by Emilia and tries to leave. However, she invites him to join her, and as they sit back to back, she asks Hayato about the mission. When Hayato tells her about Sakura, she gets jealous that he's addressing her on first-name basis and asks why he doesn't treat her so casually as well. At this, Hayato realizes he's still been calling her Emile, so after he calls her Emilia, she starts blushing and tells him to look back because she wants to show him the scar she got years ago. She admits she thought she would carry it for life, but now that it's fading, she thinks she's healing thanks to him. Afterward, he asks if she'd like to come to Zwei Island tomorrow because he's free till afternoon, and she excitedly hugs him in agreement. However, as they slip into the pool, Hayato finds himself feeling her cushions, so she gets flustered and runs off. Finally, Hayato realizes why Karen told him to stay away from water and women. Meanwhile, 3 variants have arrived on Zwei Island, and they are planning something big after tomorrow's concert. The following day, Sakura looks at a picture of her mom, wishing she were alive to watch her daughter sing at this venue. Sakura recalls her mom's teachings that music has the power to make people happy, which she holds dear to even now. She then lies on her bed, wondering what Hayato is up to. Meanwhile, Hayato reports in for duty at Clare's private summer house, only to find her in a plotless situation getting her back massaged. When he starts blushing, she asks him if seeing her like this is making his pickle tickle. But when he says he's fine, she decides to give him a good look at her plot covers. However, when she realizes she isn't wearing any, she screams, which causes Liddy to think Hayato tried to be freaky with her boss. Immediately, she steps out of the pool and tries to smack him, but she slips and plants her kitty right on his face. Once she realizes this, she cracks his coconuts, and Chris walks in right then, wondering what in the Diddy party is going on. After they settle down, Claire reveals that during last month's savage attack, a variable stone was stolen from the venue. Hayato asks what that is, only to learn that it's an item Sakura was planning to use during her performance. Turns out, Sakura had told the headquarters about this a month ago, but Claire only learned this today, which is quite annoying. Since the thieves may come back, Claire asks Hayato to keep his eyes open the entire time, and Hayato promises to stay vigilant. After that, she recalls how he beat her in the duel last time, so to make amends, she challenges him to a rematch in the form of a swimming contest. However, when she shows him the swimwear he will have to put on, Hayato realizes it's too fruity for him and runs off, leaving her frustrated. Later, he met up with Emilia within the city, and she told him to treat her like a woman just for today. Hayato worries others will learn of her secret, but she says it'll be fine since they are far away from Little Garden. She then asks what he thinks of her dress, and when he says she looks cute, she gets all happy. Afterward, she takes Hayato shopping, but while he puts on a new dress, Emilia gets distracted by a display of necklaces. Seeing this, Hayato offers to buy her one, and this makes her really excited. After putting it on, she says that when a boy gets a necklace for a girl, he's declaring that said girl is his, but Hayato shyly says he doesn't know. Just then, he spots Fritz and Raitia outside and quickly hides in the changing room with Amelia, who says Fritz was the one who told her about this store, so they were bound to run into him. At this, Hayato suggests they find an opening and leave, but Amelia says she doesn't mind staying here with him. After a bit, they manage to leave the store without getting spotted, and while Hayato catches his breath, Amelia leaves to buy drinks. Just then, he gets a call from Clare, telling him that Sakura has disappeared from her room. She adds that it was not a kidnapping because Sakura left a note for her assistant Souffle, saying she would come back soon. Clare also says that he doesn't need to search for her right away, but when Hayato asks why not, she tells him to do as she says. In reality, she says she's been watching him all day using the city cameras and doesn't want to ruin his cute little date, but it's clear that she's upset. Hayato offers to take her out too, and she gets happy all of a sudden, only to see Chris at the door and go back to being a tsundere. After she hangs up the phone, Hayato wonders where Sakura could be, but she appears right in front of him in a disguise. She says she came to see him, and when he asks how she found him, she says she has a tracker on him in case of an emergency. She then asks him to follow her as they are short on time, but when Hayato hesitates, she asks him if he's with someone else. Hayato understands that things will get ugly if she finds out about Amelia, so he decides to go with her on the condition that she informs Souffle. Soon after, Amelia returns with the drinks to find him gone, which makes her upset. Meanwhile, Hayato is in a car, and he texts Amelia to let her know what happened. Sakura is also on call with Souffle, telling her that she'll be back in time, and then hands the phone to Hayato, who promises to keep her safe. Souffle apologizes for troubling him, but he says it's fine, as he's just doing his job. Afterward, he asks Sakura where they are headed, and she says it's a secret. Back in Claire's office, she learns about the whole thing and is pretty pissed that Hayato has time for everyone except her. Soon after, Sakura takes Hayato to the Zwei Grand Canyon, and when he asks why she brought him here, he says it's a thank you for protecting this city. Turns out, she has memories with her late mother of this place, which is why she felt obligated to thank him personally for protecting it. Hayato tells her to relax, as anyone else would have done it too, but she says he's who did it, and that's why he's her hero. As they watch the view, Sakura begins to hum a melody, and Hayato remembers that Karen hums it too. However, Sakura says her mother created this song for her, and she only sings it for people who are special to her. She then asks what the name of his sister is, and once he says Karen, she suddenly asks him if they were caught in a savage attack many years ago. After he confirms it, she recalls meeting a sibling pair during the same attack who told them they loved her singing. All this time, she was looking for them, and she tears up as she realizes that those siblings were Hayato and Karen. She admits that after Hayato complimented her voice back then, she decided to pursue it as a career. However, she got really sick, so her father sent her off to Warslarn Lab as a test subject. There, everyone was injected with a vaccine created by Director Vitali, and she was among the few who survived its effects. Despite this, Vitali kept injecting them with the vaccine to create superhumans, and as everyone around her fell into madness, she would sing to calm them down. Eventually, all of the subjects died, and while she was the last alive, Souffle and Char found her and rescued her. Even though her illness was cured, she is still unable to fight, so she uses music to help people. Hearing this, Hayato reveals that he is also a variant like her, and this lifts her mood as the person who saved her life and gave her a dream also shares the same fate as her. As they head back on a bus, Sakura thanks her for today, but their bus is suddenly attacked by a savage, and it's up to Hayato to protect her. Immediately, Hayato pulls out his weapon and begins fighting it, and at the same time, Claire shows up at the control room where everyone is already hustling. Chris informs them that he's already requested backup on Hayato's location, but Liddy adds that he must hold off on his own until then. While Claire believes he's got this in the bag, Hayato is struggling as he's unable to use his full potential without the variable suit. Seeing the savage aim for another attack, Sakura quickly activates her 100 and steps in to block it. She then tells Ayato that although she can't attack, she still has the power to defend, and she'd aid him in any way possible. At this, Hayato charges up his sword and leaps at the savage, striking its core and breaking it instantly. As soon as the savage falls, Sakura runs in to hug Hayato while calling him her husband, but he tells her to get off, or people will get the wrong idea. Sakura says she doesn't mind, but just then, another savage shows up and attacks them, so she quickly turns around to block its attack. This time, the savage is too strong for her to handle, so as she collapses, Fritz appears out of nowhere and hits it with a rocket launcher. Richa follows it up by smacking the ground so hard that it cracks it open. Finally, Emilia takes it down with a big attack, but after seeing Hayato hold Sakura, she steps between them and pouts at him for leaving her earlier. When the savage returns, Richa chops off one of its arms while Emilia targets the other, and after that, Fritz weakens its core, which allows Richa to swoop in and break the outer shield. With the inner core now exposed, Emilia pulls out her bow and arrow, but before she can finish it off, she sees that the savage has started regenerating itself. Seeing this, Emilia asks everyone, including Hayato, to launch a coordinated attack on the savage. Even when they work together, the savage regenerates really fast and smashes Hayato away. While it charges in attack, Sakura yells at it to stop, and the savage actually listens for a bit, much to Hayato's shock. This gives him enough time to recover. But as Hayato leaps up, he is attacked by a mysterious boy named Kuan, who knocks him out with a single attack. Just then, another girl named Nesat walks up to Hayato and starts to inspect his sword. Moments later, she creates a replica of the sword out of thin air. After that, Kuan and Nesat turn their attention to the savage, defeating it in an instant with a well-coordinated attack. After that, the girl keeps stabbing away at the savage, and its blood keeps spreading all over her body. Richa asks her to stop, or she will get infected, but Nesat doesn't listen and actually licks the blood off her hand. When Richa tries to stop her, a third girl appears and attacks her to keep her away. In response, Fritz attacks her, but she quickly counters and knocks him back. At this, Emilia decides to beat her up, but when Hayato joins her, Kuan stops him and is impressed that he was able to block his sword. Hayato then recalls Clare telling him that a variable stone was stolen from the concert venue, and he suspects these guys are responsible. However, Kuan has had enough of Hayato, so he activates his virus and starts attacking him. When Hayato is cornered, Emil quickly turns her weapon into a gun mid-fight and uses it to fire at Kuan, which impresses him. Just then, they all look up to see that Nesat has extracted all the savage cores. Kuan says their work is done, so he suggests they head back and please their master, Vitali. After the trio leaves with the cores, the hero squad decides not to go after them in their current state. Just then, the rescue squad arrives and takes them back to the headquarters, where Clare explains that the squad they faced was called Hunters. These slayers are part of an illegal organization who have been collecting savage cores, and Char adds that the structure of cores and variable stones is quite similar. This also means that a savage can be repurposed to work as a 100, and this is top secret information that they are asked to keep to themselves. After that, Claire scolds Emilia for dragging Fritz and Richa into a battlefield, adding that she could have led them to their deaths. However, since all three of them handle the situation expertly, Claire says she will consider instating them in selections, which makes Fritz and Radia really happy. Later, Hayato apologizes to Emilia for leaving so abruptly, but she tells him it's fine since it was an emergency. She then latches onto his arm, and even when he worries others will see, Emilia does not care. Meanwhile, Souffle approaches Sakura, who's watching over the venue, and she tells her to sing for her mother. Later, Hayato visits Karen, who teaches her how to cheer properly. Just then, he gets a text from Sakura, asking him to meet her near the sea. Once he gets there, she starts yapping about how her voice reaches people's hearts, but she says it's because she's a variant. She further reveals that the majority of people are affected by the virus in some form, and she taps into that to make them feel better. When Hayato tries to comfort her, she goes into a rant about how the savage reacted to her voice, and she's just a phony. However, Hayato tells her to shut up, stating that when he heard her voice for the first time, he was truly mesmerized by it. Back then, Sakura wasn't infected, yet she reached his heart, and this means she is not a phony. At this, Sakura tells him that she might fall in love with him even more and promises to do her best tomorrow. The next day, thousands of her fans gather at the venue, and she combines her soothing voice with the power of 100 to put on a spectacular show. She then decides to sing the song that her mother wrote for her, and Karen in the crowd immediately recognizes it. Her performance is watched all around the world, and for a moment, it seems as if everything in the world is just right. The next day, before she leaves, she gets to meet Karen in person and gives her an autograph. She also thanks both siblings for encouraging her to pursue music as a career and promises to see them again soon, which makes Karen really happy. Meanwhile, Sufil asks Char to look into Sakura's voice, and she promises that she will. Just then, Sakura pulls Hayato in for a kiss to thank him for everything and happily waves him goodbye. However, the very next day, Hayato wakes up to find her in his bed, much to his shock. Just then, Claire barges into the room, as well as Emilia, and they're both surprised to see Sakura. Immediately, all three of the girls start fighting for Hayato's sausage, but he gets so fed up that he kicks them out of the room. A few days later, Hayato and friends arrive at the beach because every mid-tier anime must have a beach episode. Karen joins them as well, along with her nurse Miharu, but when Hayato gets hypnotized by her planetary bodies, Sakura latches onto his arm and tells him to admire her peaches instead. At this, Emilia says that flat is justice, but Sakura drags him into the sea and starts splashing him with water. Since others don't know Emilia is a girl, she has to keep acting like a boy, and this makes her jealous because she wanted to get wet with Ayato as well. Clare is also there with her side hose, and she believes it was a wise decision to bring everyone here to cool them off. Later, while Sakura is getting snacks, Emil calls her a disgusting hoe for latching onto Hayato. In response, Sakura asks her why she's always so worried about Hayato, making Emilia wonder if Sakura already knows her secret. In reality, Sakura thinks Emilia is a boy who likes to take it in the back door, but Emilia tells her she's known Hayato since they were young, which makes her jealous. Just then, Karen says she's known Hayato the longest, which makes her the winner. After they have food, Fritz and Raitia invite them to play beach ball with them, so Hayato and Emilia go for the first round. However, when Raitia starts using the power of her 100, Emilia says bring it on, and they go at it like maniacs. Meanwhile, Erica sees Claire lying on her back and shyly asks to apply sunscreen to her. Liddy joins her too, and they both compete to massage Claire's buns until she tells them to scram. Just then, Raitia launches the beach ball hard towards Hayato, and he has to run far to catch it. In doing so, he ends up crashing into Claire, and the next thing he knows, his face is planted between her milk packs. Just then, a helicopter lands at the beach, and Claire's brother, the chief executive of Warslarn, Juder, steps out. He immediately tells Claire she looks bussing, but she tells him to spare the flattery and get down to business. Juder reveals he's come here to see the heroes who protect the Zwei Island, especially Hayato, who has the divine blood. After praising them all, he asks Claire to come with her as they have something important to discuss. Later, as the others return to the academy, Claire summons them to the council room and informs them of an anti-savage operation. All 4 of them are candidates to join the selection, and they will also be participating in this operation. After the meeting, Juder wishes to have a moment with Hayato, and as they head underground, Juder asks him what runs Little Garden. Hayato believes it's powered by a nuclear reactor, but Juder hints that it's something else. He explains that the power required to run this city cannot be produced by a nuclear reactor, so he takes Hayato to a super-secret lab where he sees a young girl frozen in a crystal. Juder introduces her as Liza, the power source and the supreme commander of Little Garden. Until now, Hayato was told Liza is a supercomputer, but Juder reveals she is actually his sister, and the very first variant slayer created by mankind. Just then, Claire appears with a gun in her hand, demanding to know why Juder brought Hayato here. Juder responds that Hayato is to become a top savage slayer in the near future, and it's only fair that he knows the truth about Liza. He further explains that Liza has the power to change the world, but Claire fires the gun at Judar's feet, sternly telling him not to use their sister as a tool. Juder apologizes for offending her, adding that he also brought Hayato here because he might have the power to awaken Liza. He then asks Hayato to give her a wake-up kiss, but when Hayato refuses, Juder asks him to simply touch the crystal and release his energy. Once Hayato places his hand on it, the crystal starts to glow, which confirms Juder's theory, though Hayato is not strong enough to fully awaken her yet. Juder then suddenly remembers that he has to stop Vitali, who is after Liza, but when Claire demands to know more about the anti-savage operation, he tells her he's in a hurry and they'll talk later. He then asks Hayato to swipe Claire's V card as he doesn't mind having him in the family, but Claire gets flustered and tells him to scram. Later, as Hayato and Claire head up, she strictly tells him to keep what he saw to himself. After a bit, the whole squad is en route to their next mission, which is located in the mountain range of Tian Kuan City. Nearly 50 savages are spotted in the area, so the Slayers will land in the city and will be joined by Shuime, who was born in Tian Kuan and will serve as their guide. Additionally, Krovan and his squad might also appear during the mission, and since Hayato and his team have fought them before, their experience is crucial for success. When they arrive at base camp, the high military presence makes them realize how important this mission truly is. Just as they walk towards their tent, a crazy chick recognizes Emilia and starts gushing over her by calling her a princess. Emilia quickly covers her mouth as she's disguised as a man, but Hayato wants to know why she's calling Emilia a princess. At this, the girl rudely tells him to scram as she doesn't know her, but when Emilia asks her to be polite, she introduces herself as Claudia, a member of the Britannia Federation. She then asks Emilia to return to Gutenberg, so when Hayato asks what she means, Emilia reveals she's been lying to him all this time, and she is in fact a legitimate princess of the Gutenberg royal family. However, she's made a vow to never return, and this makes Claudia throw a tantrum. When Emilia says she's in love with Hayato and wants to be with him instead, Claudia awakens her inner feminist and challenges him to a duel. They head to the dojo, where Claudia promises to remove him from the picture. But Hayato locks in and puts all his kendo training to use, knocking the fool out with a single attack. When Claudia demands a rematch, Emilia tells her to scram as she's already lost, affirming that she is never returning to Gundenberg. Even then, Claudia says she will never give up and promises to make Hayato pay before running off in tears. After that, Emilia and Hayato go out to get snacks, not knowing that Kuan is also in the vicinity. After a while, Shumei briefs everyone on their mission, stating that each squad will be assigned a designated location, which they will have to clear of any savages. Emilia is a-okay with everything, but she is worried about Claudia being a part of her squad. Claudia is over the moon at this, and she also promises Hayato that she will remove him from the picture so Emilia can come home. At this, Clare steps in and tells Claudia to behave, as both Emilia and Hayato are valuable assets to their squad, and she will do everything to make sure they stay here. Intimidated by her, Claudia agrees to behave and shakes her hand on it. Just then, Liddy, Fritz, and Richa arrive to inform Clare that they have been assigned to a different squad, along with two girls, Ally and Wendy. Fritz jokes that he feels like a harem anime protagonist, but Richa kicks him for acting like a degenerate. Before they all leave, Clare encourages Shumei by telling her that although she's not going, she's still one of them, and they will rely on her for backup. After a bit, the Slayers are already fighting the savages in their assigned areas, but when one of them comes in Hayato's direction, Claudia steps in to show off her 100. She summons a giant spike ball that she smacks the savage with, before asking Emilia to finish it off. After Emilia takes the savage out, Claudia starts acting all cringy around her, stating that their duo works perfectly and Emilia should ditch Hayato. After Emilia tells her off, Clare joins them too, and Erica notes that all the savages in the area have been wiped out. However, Clare tells her squad to hunt more of these monsters so they can wrap this up quickly and head to the mountain. Unbeknownst to them, the hunters are also in the area, watching them from a distance. At the same time, Rydia teams up with her new squadmate Ally to take a savage out effectively, while Liddy, Fritz, and Wendy watch from the back, noting that the girls are using up too much of their energy. That evening, Clare and her squad camp in the woods, content with their performance. However, Claudia mocks Hayato because he hasn't landed a finishing blow on even one of the savages. Emilia feels bad for him because Claudia keeps stealing his targets, but Hayato says he doesn't mind giving assists as long as it benefits the team. At night, she splits the team into two groups for night watch, and Emilia immediately calls dibs on Hayato because she's hoping for some late-night backshots.
Bombastic side eye.
However, Clare gets jealous and refuses to let them team up, which frustrates Emilia. In the end, she has to team with Erica, while the other three rest inside the tent. Hayato is unable to sleep and starts staring at Clare's lips, but she notices him and tells him to rest, as it's part of the mission. A few hours later, Erica reveals that the squads have eliminated a total of 42 savages, but there are more here than estimated. At this, Clare asks her and Emilia to sleep while the three of them keep watching, which leaves Emilia sad because she's still hoping for some late-night pounding. Later, Hayato and Clare are watching the stars, and Hayato notes that Karen would have loved this view. Clare realizes he cares a lot about his sister, and he says it's just been the two of them since childhood. Clare hopes that they can make this world a better place, so people like Karen can relax and watch the stars at night. Just then, Claudia joins them, and after teasing them for being obviously in love, she tells them she saw a shadow in the woods and asks them to check it out. In reality, it's all part of her plan to give them alone time, so Clare can riz Hayato up, which would force Emilia to return home. Turns out the duo runs into a savage for real, but when Clare tries to contact the others, the transmission doesn't go through. Not thinking much of it, she decides to fight the savage by herself, but in doing so, she slips on a puddle and finds herself in a bad spot. Luckily, Hayato comes to her rescue and manages to defeat the savage. As they head back, Hayato stares at Clare's dusty buns, and she says she has to wash before she heads back. Just then, they run into a large body of water, so Clare takes off her suit and steps into it, while Hayato sits nearby with his back turned. Back in camp, Emilia wakes up, and Claudia tells her that Hayato went on a date with Clare. Emilia refuses to believe her story, but Claudia dubs Hayato a cheater and tells Emilia to come back. Emilia says that even if Hayato were a cheat, she would still not return home, which foils Claudia's entire plan. Meanwhile, Clare asks Hayato what it feels like when his variant power activates, and Hayato says it's like all his senses are distant from him. Clare wonders if Liza felt the same way, but then she reveals that, unlike him, Liza was injected when she was a mere fertilized egg, so she was born a variant. Hayato is horrified and asks if Vitaly was behind this too, and Clare reveals she was just an assistant to the mastermind Linus, Clare's mom. Liza was a prodigy from the get-go, but one day, when Clare fumbled in a fight, Liza had to use a forbidden power to save her. Ever since that day, she's been frozen, but her body releases energy every day, which is used to power a little garden. However, Clare wants to help Liza so people stop using her as a tool, so she asks Hayato if this selfish desire makes her a failure. Hayato says he's also selfish because he only became a slayer to fund treatment for his sister, adding that most people have personal reasons to fight, and it's okay. At this, Clare feels much better about herself and is 2 seconds away from giving him a life-altering sloppy toppy. However, Hayato gets an emergency signal, and she quickly steps out of the water, only to fall on him. After posing for the fans, Clare quickly backs off, embarrassed that Hayato saw her unplotted jugs. Hayato apologizes and hands her her variable suit, but she's still not happy and promises to make him take responsibility. After that, he responds to the emergency call from Squad D, and their captain, Zayed, reveals that his entire squad has been wiped out by 3 hunters. Just then, they get a flare signal from Fritz, so Clare asks him to return to the tent and warn Erica, while she goes ahead and deals with the hunters. By then, only Liddy is left standing, but as she struggles to keep up with the hunters, Clare shows up with her own boss music and vows to repay them for hurting her comrades. She gives them a free out if they give her info about Vitaly, but Nakari attacks her. Clare easily deflects, adding that they can't scratch her in full body armament even if they use variant powers. Just then, it starts to rain, and Krovan tells them that luck might be on their side today. Immediately, Nesat and Nakari rush Clare down and manage to destroy some of her cannons, weakening her attack significantly. Krovan then leaps up, telling Clare that her powers are reduced in the rain before knocking her down with a swift strike. As he prepares to finish her off, he is suddenly restrained by Erica's chains, and Hayato quickly arrives to check on Clare. By then, Claudia and Amelia have already taken care of Nesat and Nakari, but when Clare asks Krovan to surrender, Ro gets rage-baited and uses the power of yapping to empower his comrades. Nakari and Nesat quickly escape and try to launch a counterattack, but Amelia activates her raid boss mode and schools Nesat. She then turns her attention to Nakari, defeating her within seconds. When Nakari tries to replicate her weapon, Amelia threatens to stab her in the eye. She then asks Nakari why she uses her eye to hurt others, when she should use it to see the beautiful world around her, which is eye-opening for her, no pun intended. Meanwhile, Krovan is recklessly swinging his sword, yapping about the suffering and injustice he has faced growing up. Somehow, Hayato sees his memories in which 3 of them were slaves working at a quarry, where they were mistreated by everyone. One day, they decided to escape, but the journey was too hard for them, and Nesat ended up losing one of her eyes. Eventually, Vitaly found them and offered Nesat a new eye, as well as the power to change the world. At present, Hayato is confused, but when Krovan asks what his reason is for fighting, Hayato responds that he wants to protect everyone's smile. He then activates his full-body armament, announcing that he will make this world a safe haven for everyone. He then pulls out his sword and strikes Krovan down, but Krovan refuses to give up and keeps using his variant powers to push Hayato back, even when others warn her of the consequences. Just then, a new type of savage shows up and starts firing at the squad, so Krovan takes it upon himself to take it down, but he also says that he will be taking its core. As he powers up, Hayato warns her that he's using too much power, but he tells Hayato to shut it as he needs the core. He then leaps into the air and swings at the savage, but the savage summons a large barrier around it, which prevents Krovan from getting closer. Krovan continues to strike at the barrier, screaming that the 3 of them can finally be free, but no matter how hard he tries, the barrier won't budge. Exhaustion finally catches up to him, and as he steps back, the savage launches a counterattack at him. Getting caught in the attack, Krovan is sent crashing into the ground, but Hayato moves quickly and cushions the fall. When he asks Hayato why he saved him, Hayato reminds him that he wants to make this world a safe place for everyone. At this, he responds that he doesn't care about his future, and all he wants is for Nesat and Nakari to be safe. After that, Clare tries to attack, but the savage blocks her as well. Amelia then suggests they fire at the same time to weaken the barrier, but Erica wants to involve every single slayer in this attack. Since the comms are jammed, Clare asks the hunters to help, so Nesat destroys the jammers to restore communication. After that, Claire asks Char to do some damage calculations, and Char confirms with Liza that the barrier will fall if all the Slayers fire at it at the same time. Claire then informs them all to fire at the same time, while Hayato stands by for the finishing blow. As they fire away, the barrier does not fall, and Char reveals that some of the Slayers couldn't attack because they ran into a savage. With no other options, Char suggests that Hayato share his variant powers with Claire and make her a raid boss. When Emilia asks how they will share, Char reveals that Hayato and Claire must swap spits to make it happen. Even though it will make her really strong for a time, there is no telling what will happen to her body later on. Even then, she is ready to take that risk, and now it's up to Hayato to man up and kiss her. But Emilia is not too happy about it, even though she understands it's for the mission. Hayato then takes her to a discreet location where he kisses her, and Claire immediately senses that she's become stronger than before. Immediately, she signals the others to fire at the savage, and as she joins with her variant powers, they manage to destroy the barrier and weaken its core. Hayato then activates his armament and rushes in, striking the savage in the head and defeating it. However, he loses consciousness and drops into the lake below, prompting Emilia to jump after him. After she finds him, she makes sure to kiss him before pulling him out. The following day, as Claire and her squad are heading back, Erica asks why Kuan and his girls are being moved to Little Garden, considering the fact that they're unstable and dangerous. Claire feels the same way, but Judar is the one who ordered it, and she isn't sure what to tell Erica. Meanwhile, Hayato is still unconscious, and when Emilia tries to kiss him, Karen and Sakura walk into the room and ask what she's up to. Emilia is still a boy in their eyes, so she makes an excuse that she was merely cleaning something on his face. Just then, Hayato wakes up, and everyone is relieved to see him in good health. Meanwhile, Vitali learns that Kuan and the others are not returning, but she says it's fine as her plan continues. A few days later, Ali and Wendy encounter a new type of savage that does not have a core, and because of that, they don't know how to defeat it. After they're both knocked out, Vitali appears with a grin and declares that her experiment was a success. Meanwhile, Hayato and his squad visit Claire's office to ask about the hunters, and she tells them they're under surveillance at all times. Right now, they're just chilling, but they have refused to share any information. Additionally, Warslarn Intelligence located Vitali's lab, but she had already left by the time they arrived. Char reveals that she did her best to analyze the data, but Vitali had already erased all the important documents. Since Vitali is unpredictable, a joint force of Slayers has been created to keep security tight during Garden Festa. Hayato asks them what this Festa is about, so Liddy tells him it's held every year to celebrate the launch of Little Garden. Sakura reveals that she will be performing at the event and has a special weapon prepared for it. Erica then adds that the Festa will host a large number of guests, which is why they have ordered cleaning robots from Amazon. Later, the squad heads to the airport, where they run into Claudia, who has come to cockblock Emilia from tasting Hayato's pickle. Wendy has also come, so when Fritz and Richa ask her about Ally, she says she hasn't seen her since their last mission, which they find weird. Later, Hayato sees Sakura storm off, so he follows her and finds her in a room with Karen and Char. When he asks what's happening here, Sakura reveals that Karen is going to sing in her concert, much to his shock. Hayato is worried about her since she can't even stand, but Karen reveals 100 custom made for her, which will allow her to fly around and be normal while she's welding it. Hayato is impressed at this, so Char and Sakura add that Karen has been training in secret all this time. This makes the guy really happy, and he encourages her to do her best, which makes Karen smile. After that, Sakura kicks him out of the room so they can practice. Meanwhile, Wendy is heading to her room when she sees a cleaning robot and senses something off. After the event kicks off, hundreds of guests arrive at the venue, and even the hunters are offered fancy food to celebrate. Nakari refuses to relax because she still considers them her enemy, but she's bummed that they took their hundreds. At this, Kuan says Nesset still has hers because they would have to remove her eye to get it. Despite this, Nakari wants to teach the Slayers a lesson, but Kuan and Nakari don't have the same energy. Meanwhile, Hayato and Emilia are on watch when she starts clinging to him and asks if he can let her taste his pickle. Hayato gets nervous at this, but just then, he spots Richa and Erica, dressed as maids who reveal they're working at a cafe with Shuamei and Noah. Erica is extremely conscious about her dress, so when Emila takes a picture of her, Erica runs after her to make her delete it. Afterward, they head inside the cafe, and after seeing all the maids, Emilia wishes she could dress as a girl too. Erica jumps on this and tells the maids to drag Erica to the dressing room. Hayato tells Erica that this might expose Emilia's secret, but Erica knows he wants to see Emilia dressed as a maid so he can goon to it later. Soon after, Emilia arrives in her maid uniform and plastic melons, which makes Hayato feel something in his pants. Since everyone thinks Emilia is a guy, they urge Hayato to feel her fake melons, and Emilia shyly says she does not mind either. When Hayato hesitates to touch, the girls push him onto Emilia, and this causes him to fall on her. At that time, he realizes that the melons are too soft, so Emilia gets all shy and says these are actually real. Just then, the girls snap pictures of her, and Hayato gets nervous about the potential rumors. Soon after, as Judah arrives at the venue, Hayato gets a break and comes to see Karen before her performance. She admits she's a little nervous about it, so Hayato gives her a forehead kiss to calm her down. After that, the others enter the room, and Sufla tells Karen that she will be going up for the second song. Just then, Judah comes in as well, and after encouraging both girls to do their best, Ro takes his leave. After that, Sakura heads to the stage and gives a dashing performance, which captures everyone's hearts. Meanwhile, Wendy is revealed to have been under some sort of mind control, and Vitaly uses this to sneak into the backstage area. After Sakura is done with her performance, she invites Karen to the stage, and Karen gives a speech about how music gives her strength. She then activates her 100, called the Divine Card, and gives a soothing performance as all eyes are glued to the screen. Vitaly is also in the area, planning something with the cleaning robots. After Karen's performance ends, the venue erupts in applause, so Sakura announces that she and Karen will sing the next song together. While they're performing, Chris informs Claire that one of their guards was found unconscious, and on a closer look, they learn that it's Wendy. She doesn't have any wounds, but she claims to have lost her memory. As other officers try to help her, she keeps mumbling about the savage without core, which worries Claire. Meanwhile, a mechanical bee appears in the district, and immediately, Erica activates her 100 to try and capture it. However, as soon as she restrains it, the bee explodes, and Rydia spots another one nearby. She activates her 100 and destroys it too, but seconds later, dozens of the bees explode and cut out all broadcasts in the district. Things get chaotic in the control room as explosions are reported all over the city, and Claire cannot figure out where these devices came from. That's when she receives footage of the cleaning robots transforming into those self-exploding bees, so she quickly orders to shut down all of the robots. Just then, Erica informs her that she found variable stones inside the bees, and it finally hits Claire that this is a well-coordinated and planned attack. Char joins her too, and she believes Vitaly is responsible. So, agreeing to her assumption, Claire asks to put the Festa on hold. She also informs the military students that there's been an emergency and deploys them to search and destroy all the active bees. Once the word gets out, Sakura informs the public about the emergency and asks them to stay calm in this situation. Meanwhile, Char and Claire check the recordings to see that Vitaly mind-controlled Wendy to get aboard the ship, so Claire orders that they increase security for the hunters. In the city, the Slayers are busy destroying the bees, not knowing that one of them has sneaked into the server room and has injected them with a virus. Soon after, Claudia and her squad spot a military aircraft approaching at high speed, but before they can react, it crashes into the ship. Things get worse as the virus spreads and interrupts the control room, but it goes even worse when the crashed aircraft releases Vitaly's savages without the core. Conventional weapons are useless against them, and even Slayers seem to have no chance against these new savages. At this, Char names them replicants and announces that Vitaly has declared war on them. Immediately, Claire asks Liddy to deal with these replicants, while Erica deals with the bees inside the district. Hayato and Emilia show up for orders, so Claire tells them to guard the hunters at all costs. Just then, another aircraft closes in towards the shop, but even after the air defense strikes it, it crashes into the barrier and causes a fracture. Once again, replicants emerge from within, but this time, they are much larger in size. As they keep striking at the barrier, its power depletes quickly, so Claire decides to take matters into her own hands, as she's the captain. However, Chris insists that she stays here as they need her to rally everyone, so Hayato and Emil decide to go in her place. Liza agrees with this decision as well, and when Hayato promises to protect Little Garden at all costs, Claire remembers what he said during their last mission and agrees to let him go. However, she places a condition that he must come back alive so he can protect the kingdom during the day, and also give her backshots at night. Meanwhile, the hunters hear explosions, and Akari gets excited, thinking Vitaly has come to rescue them. Nesset points out that there's a festa going on, and Krovan says Vitaly would never hurt innocent people just to save them. He believes her goal is to take revenge against the Slayers and build her ideal world, so she wouldn't attack on a day like this. Just then, Vitaly proves him wrong by walking through the front door and giving them their hundreds, asking them to help her attack the island. Krovan says he won't hurt civilians, especially after the kindness they've shown him, so Vitaly uses a device to torture them for defying orders. Meanwhile, as Liddy is tearing apart the replicants, Hayato and Emilia head out to protect the barrier. At the same time, May finds Vitaly and knocks her out, but as soon as she turns her back, Vitaly attacks and shoots her to reveal that she's an automaton. She then asks the hunters to come with her, but when May begs them to stay back, they coldly blast her away and follow Vitaly like puppets. As Kuan breaks down the walls to make way, Char informs Clare that they might be heading to Sector 11 where Liza is held. Just then, Judah calls Clare to let her know that she doesn't have to worry about Liza, as he will personally deal with Vitaly and her underlings. Meanwhile, Nakari walks through the hall and activates a trap that electrocutes her. But even then, Vitaly doesn't flinch and asks the other two to keep moving. Just as she pulls out the torture device, May catches up and shoots at her, but after she runs out of ammo, Vitaly uses the chance to escape. Even after May is shot, she worries about the hunters, and they're moved by her kindness. On the other hand, Vitaly closes in on Liza, but Judah joins her and says he knew she would come here. Vitaly pulls out her gun, stating that she wanted to off him anyway, because years ago, he pretended to love her but discarded her later. She plans to flatline Liza and show the hunters how powerless they are before destroying the little garden, all because Judah didn't let her fiddle with his joystick. Just then, the replicants start emitting a strange noise, and it affects all variants by giving them migraines. With all the strongest slayers weakened, Vitaly declares that she'll win in a matter of time. At this, Judah calmly says he'll take her back, but she says it's too late as she plans to send him to God. She then starts shooting at Liza, but all the bullets are absurd, and she looks up to see that Liza is actually awake. At this, Judah reveals that Liza was close to waking up already, so he made Sakura perform on Little Garden to speed up the process. He also knew Vitaly would attack, but he claims he used her, which frustrates Vitaly. She begins shooting at him, but Liza absorbs all the bullets, right before Judah pulls his gun and shoots her back. He then holds her as she dies and thanks her for everything, and even then, Vitaly feels happy. After that, Judah asks Liza to rest for now, but she says she must do something first. Meanwhile, Hayato is getting his bum handed to him by the replicants, and even after he tries his best, his attacks do no damage. As the replicants intensify their noise, even Sakura and Karen feel its effect and wish they were strong enough to help. Just then, Liza appears and tells them they do have the power to help, in the form of their song. She then asks them to sing for everyone, before blessing Karen with a forehead kiss, which allows her to stand on her feet. The girls then activate their hunters to sing, and at the same time, the other slayers realize that the weakening effect is wearing off. Chris believes it's due to the singing, and as expected, Hayato regains strength and is back on his feet. He then activates his full body armament and rushes down the giant replicant, defeating it in a single blow before collapsing on the barrier. However, since the biggest threat is eliminated, Claire simply smiles and says he did well. Suddenly, Chris tells her that the replicant is still active, and it soon starts charging up a huge attack. With the city on the verge of destruction, the hunters appear out of nowhere and take the blow head-on, thus saving everyone. Nakari is knocked out by this, so Kuan tells Nesat to help her as she charges the replicant down. However, his attacks prove futile as well, and he gets knocked back, prompting the monster to charge another attack. Immediately, Claire decides to head out herself, but before she reaches, Nesat sees her brother on the verge of death and desperately uses her replication ability to become a replicant herself. Char informs Claire that Nesat is now in the same condition as Liza once was, and if not helped, she will explode. Claire asks how they can help, and Char reveals that they will have to stop Nesat's vital function to prevent her from exploding. Meanwhile, Hayato is knocked out, when Liza appears in his dream and tells him he is the only one who can save Nesat and Little Garden. She then cups his face and gives him a kiss, so immediately, Hayato contacts Claire and asks her to buy him some time. She agrees to hold on but promises to eliminate Nesat if Hayato's plan fails. After that, Hayato approaches Nesat, and sensing his presence, she starts attacking him. Hayato dodges her attacks and tries talk no jutsu on her, but it does not work because he's not Naruto. As he gets flung around, Emilia quickly joins the battle to rescue him and encourages him to give it his all. Thanks to her, Hayato gains plot armor and keeps talking to Nesat, promising her that she will not be hurt again if she trusts them. However, when Nesat becomes more enraged, Hayato leaps in and strikes at the core, approaching her inside the monster and asking her to join them. Nesat asks if she can really trust her, so Hayato extends his hand and asks to become her friend. Nesat tears up as she takes his hand, and he welcomes her to Little Garden. After she turns back to normal, Emilia comes running in to hug him, and Kuan joins with Nakari to thank him for saving Nesat. As Clare watches over them with a smile, Liza embraces her and thanks her for protecting Little Garden. That night, the whole city celebrates under fireworks, and Emilia suddenly kisses Hayato, finally proposing to him. Hayato reciprocates her feelings, admitting that he wants to be with her as well. After that, they kiss again, right as everyone walks in on them and watches in shock. They demand to know why Hayato is kissing a boy, but Claudia jumps in and threatens to chop his sausage if he ever lays hands on the princess again. Since everyone has already heard, Emilia decides to let the cat out of the bag, telling everyone that she is actually a girl and the Princess of Gundenberg, leaving everyone in shock. Just then, Clare appears with her laser cannon and blasts Hayato away for getting freaky on campus. That's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed and watch